For the season finale, we recreate a recipe from my hometown on the Iron Range, Chisholm, Minnesota. My favorite restaurant, Valentini's Supper Club. On the Tiburzi Test Kitchen. Sure, Mom made ravioli and sugo at home all the time. She even made carbonara, which is a Valentini's staple. But we always had to go to the source to get chicken cacciatore. See, at Valentini's, when you order your pasta, you got an option of 3 side dishes: Italian sausage, meatball, or chicken cacciatore. I always loved the meatball. It was my favorite. But I'd order the chicken cacciatore just to get the extra sauce so I can dunk my bread. I didn't even care about the chicken. It was all about dunking your bread in that sauce. Traditionally, cacciatore was an easy dish the hunters would take to the fields to make for lunch. However, there's variations of the dish depending on which region of Italy you came from. If you're making a dish in southern Italy, you're using red wine and tomatoes. The northern Italian people would use white wine. In Minneapolis, we split the difference and use pink, but no tomatoes. To get started, you need 5 chicken breasts with the bone. Deskin them all, set 2 aside for tonight's dinner. With the other 3 breasts, fillet the meat off the bone and save both parts. I used 3 small steaks, you could get away with 2, and 2 small onions quartered. In a couple tablespoons of olive oil, we fry the chicken bones first. Like making drippings for the sugo, the key here is to brown the meat to the pan. Remove the chicken and onion, add water, return to the stove. Now once you've done this a few times, you're going to need that water to heat up to scrape everything off. Set the drippings aside and return the pan to the stove. Each time you repeat the process with the chicken, you need to add a few tablespoons of olive oil. Let's start another pan for the steak. Now start with some olive oil. Now unlike the chicken, olive oil is only used for that first time with the steak. No additional olive oil when you add the steak the second, third, and fourth time. Repeat the browning and scrape till the meat is fully cooked. This should render about 8 cups of chicken stock and 3 to 4 cups of beef stock. Meanwhile, add the chicken and beef stock to the pan, some white Zinfandel wine, rosemary, salt, and chicken bouillon. Once you're at a boil, turn the heat to low. Let simmer 45 minutes. Then remove from the heat and let cool. I freeze this in 1.5 cup servings for 2 people. When you use this sauce, divide it into 3 parts. The first part you use when you fry both sides of the chicken breast in olive oil. The goal here is to thicken the sauce by scraping. Add half of the second part to the sauce when the pan goes into the oven at 350. Now keep an eye on the chicken in the oven. When the sauce thickens, you add the other half of the second part. Now at this point the chicken may be done. If the internal temperature is 160, tent it with foil and set it aside to keep warm. Meanwhile, add some of the third part to the pan and continue to bake. This looks just right. I add some sauce to the chicken breast, but leave the rest of the sauce in a dish to dip my bread in. Tasty. Well, that wraps up Season 1. Join us March 4th as we return with Season 2 of the Tiburzi Test Kitchen. Until then, keep cooking and eating.
Uh-huh.